Kia ora everyone, my name is Desiree DeSpong. I am based in Tauranga, New Zealand, and I am the brains or the founder or developer of Flow Orb. Flow Orb was developed as part of my many years in clinical practice. So I've worked in the field of lymphology, so I would deal with swelling, with all sorts of pain coming from post-surgical and a lot of cancer cases. And over the time, you learn a lot about how the body functions. And one of the things is that we want lymphatic drainage, and vibration is one of the most magical ways to get the lymphatics to move. So think of the big vibration plate that you stand on and it makes you jiggle. The same thing is very effective when we use it in a milder version on the body, and that's part of what Flow Orb does. So in our mode 1, which is the first point that you turn on, it is creating a vibration. So this can be hugely beneficial from a point of view of putting it in your armpits to get the flow of the lymphatics, or rubbing it over the body to try and get your lymphatics moving. It's not a pressure, it's light. And then one of the other things I learned was fascia. So fascia is like your connective tissue. So visually, if you think of a chicken skin and you pull it back and you see that clear cellulose, that's what holds us together. And as we get older, our fascia tightens, it doesn't glide. And so what happens is we get this rigidity. Or, for example, 80% of back pain is often fascia related. And we start getting things like arthritis and lack of movement in our joints, like our knees and our elbows and our shoulders. So mode 2 and 3 are like a pulsing or an oscillation. And they're designed to create a movement to that fascia to try and get your body to glide again. So this is when we can be holding it if we've got arthritis in the hands. We can be using it where we can be leaning up against the pressure point or in the pillow in the back of your couch where you're trying to lean into the back to try and let that discomfort in your back go. And the great thing is you can always pair up with someone who can be working on you. So my background created these ideas to be able to allow someone at home to take care of themselves. I really wanted the opportunity for you to be empowered to work with you, so that we could give you options on what else you can do for self-care. And self-care is the key for change, especially when it comes to lymphatics and fascia. So for example, your lymphatics don't move if you don't move, or if you don't breathe effectively. So sometimes if we're sort of a bit bound due to illness or due to immobility, we do need some help with our lymphatics. So what's some of the other ways you can use this? So the mode 1, as I say, is always for lymphatics. So think, I want to move my fluids. I want to get change. So you might have fluid in the back of your knee. You can place it behind the knee. If you have any fluid in your abdomen, or your abdomen feels really sore, just gently rub the abdominal area. Fluid from the body always goes back up to the heart. So if you can think of that, perfect. But the great thing about vibration is you can't go wrong, because what it's doing is creating these beautiful little micro pulsations to get the body to move itself. So with those micro pulsations, it creates muscular movement, it creates a reaction to what's called a lymphangion to try and get the movement in the lymphatics. So the advantage about that is if you don't know manual drainage, you don't know a specific way, it's okay, but just think towards the heart. We can use it for incredibly painful feet, or plantar fasciitis, or we can use it for shoulder discomfort, especially with frozen shoulder. You're really wanting to target through the center here and through the back, which is the subscap area, or in under this point here. And again, it can be just leaning into it. We don't necessarily have to work hard on it. It's really important that when you're working with lymph or fascia, you start gentle. So it's more of a, let me just roll it and move it. Then when I feel really good and it's actually creating change, then I can add a little bit of pressure into it. So I'm kind of pushing into my hand a bit stronger. And then if it's really starting to move and you can feel the mobility changing and you want to bring it up to another level, you can lean into it. So it can be something you can lean into the wall, you can be lying on your bed, lying into it, but I would always try to put a yoga mat or some form of cushioning down just so that you're not doing it direct on the floor. From a caution point of view of what I wouldn't use this on, so obviously we wouldn't use it on wounds, any open wounds, around infection. When we vibrate the tissue fluids, we're actually going to enhance its movement, and if you have an infection, the chances are we could spread that infection. So I would suggest that's something I wouldn't encourage. Obviously on broken bones, anything where it's really painful, just stop. It shouldn't be something that you are feeling any form of pain with. It really is about holding or compressing against the body, and the body feels like it's letting go. I often get asked which is better, mode 1 or mode 2 or mode 3. Sometimes it's more about which one, when you put it on and you put it against the body, does the body go, ah, that's the sweet spot. That's the ability for your body to let go, which means that the muscle tension, the fascia, the lymphatics are all moving as well. So sometimes we can say, yes, do mode 1, mode 2, or mode 3 and have protocols, but sometimes it's more important that you go, I really like this one. I feel like my body is relaxing and my body's letting go, and that's how it can be effective. So from caution's point of view, it more is common sense. Again, we don't want pain, we don't want infection, we don't want any open wounds, broken bones, or even around maybe the head or neck area, especially if you deal with anything like seizures, so that you're just not putting the body under too much pressure. Some of the most very cool stories that we're getting from this technology is the ease of use, I think, is one of the great things, and it's always there beside you. It's not like you have to go away and store it in a box. It can be sitting beside you on the couch, it can be in the office, it can be on the plane, which I've used many a times. But some of the stories that we're really hearing, one of the most profound very early on was a woman who had suffered from incontinence and pelvic pain for over 20 years, and due to a health condition and having a child and surgery. And after only an hour sitting between her sit bones, which are just under the bottom there, she just alternated between the two, and that afternoon had no pain medication for the first time in 15 years, and the first time in 20 years her incontinence pad was clear, like she had not leaked at all. So, these are some of the things we're starting to learn, obviously with arthritis in the hand. I personally love it for pressure points. I'm finding it incredible for any sort of pain point where I can't quite get to it, being able to rest into it and just letting it go. We're using them in clinics now for under the axilla, so the armpit, because we're finding that a lot of women and men, ironically, are suffering from swelling there, which of course long term could be or possibly be a relationship to breast cancer. So we're wanting to drain through that area more efficiently. And I also seen significant results in the diaphragm. So people that don't breathe well and deep and effectively, by being able to actually roll the ball through the diaphragm area, we're starting to see the diaphragm relax, which means we're getting a better intake of breath, which, if we know anything about the importance of breath, it means that you're going into parasympathetic, which means that's the rest and repair. So you recover more efficiently when you're breathing deeper. So we are starting to continue to receive more and more insights into the effectiveness of Flow Orb. Welcome to this product. I really hope that you can get the advantages out of it like so many.